Okay, so let's start. Today I wanted to talk a bit about leadership and management and how these two things are different and how they are similar. So first of all, very briefly about me. I have around 9 years of managerial experience, meaning that someone reported to me, and around 4 or 5 years of leadership experience, I would say. So this presentation will take around 30 minutes. And questions at the end, please. And we'll talk about leadership and the rank, how these things are similar, how these things are different. We'll talk about some leadership tips, and we'll talk about the role of the managers. So, leadership and rank. This is every human ever. We are part of something much bigger, something very complex called world. We love to think about ourselves as adults. Adults are controlling their surrounding, controlling their life. They exactly know what needs to be done. Unfortunately, this is not the reality. All of us seek for guidance, seek for help, etc. Sometimes we look at other people and we see them like, oh, this guy has everything under control. He's so successful, he has it all. But this is not true. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs guidance. Everyone, for this reason, seeks leadership. Yeah. And many, actually all organized religions call us for this reason children in many parts of the world. Because like children, we all need advice, help, guidance. We need to follow someone who knows better. We want to actually. This is our basic need. And when I say everyone, I mean absolutely everyone. Even if there are people at the top of the food chain, like Caesar, they are still requiring help in some aspects, and they actually are looking for leadership. They are looking for someone, to follow. They are looking for leadership in gods, in priests, in philosophers, whatever. But they are still need that. And leadership is not binary. It's not 0 or 1. It's not like you are a leader or you are not a leader. Yeah, it's a whole spectrum. And actually, it's even more complicated than that, because you can be leader at something and follow someone at something else. So I can imagine Caesar, being amazing leader. In terms of military and politics, but maybe at the evenings he also wanted to paint some pictures, and he sucked at that, and he was following some master of arts and please lead me, show me how to do it, So, we all seek for leadership even if we are leading. Now, the difference between rank and leadership. Rank is your function. Rank is something that you get. Rank is your title. And if you just have rank and you are not a leader, people do what you ask them to do because they have to. Because you outrank them. This is how it works. But there are many situations where you have actually leaders without the rank, These are the big players, that you see. Like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Lech Wałęsa. These are the leaders, that made a lot of people do what they wanted to, without having rank. People followed them because they wanted to follow their lead. Think about love. We love who we want to love, not who we are told to love. And I don't want to go as deep as saying like why we love some people. Maybe someone is very beautiful or has a very awesome spiritual life. This is the reason why we love someone. But with the leadership, that's the same. We follow who we want to follow, not who we are told to follow. And there are reasons why we follow people. Sometimes we follow someone with rank because we trust that if they have this rank, that they know better. But still, this is our feeling. This is our decision at the end. And when you look at the world today, this is the people with just rank. This is people who are leaders, but they do not have any rank. And this is the sweet spot. This is the people that actually make a difference. This is the people that actually make things happen. This is the people who have both rank and are also excellent leaders. And I think that if we move closer to this one in future, the world will be much more better place. And from the career perspective, how to get to this sweet spot. There are, mathematically speaking, two ways, First, you are first the leader, and then you get a rank. So, for example, think about this Nelson Mandela that we spoken about. First, he was a leader without rank, and then he got a democratic mandate from his people to rule the country. So he got to the sweet spot from this angle. But in majority of cases, it happens like that. You first got a rank, and then you are expected to be a leader. This is hard, but know one thing. Leadership is a skill. Leadership is a skill. And if it's a skill, it can be learned by absolutely anyone. And this is true about any skill. You can have talent for something, you don't have a talent for something, or actually you can have like anti-talent for something, like me, for example, driving cars, yeah? But this doesn't mean that I did not learn driving cars. It just took me a lot of time, yeah? And this is true with every skill. And think about it like that. If I would move back in time and kidnapped baby Mozart, 1 year old, I would put him in the jungle, and I would forbid him for play any music. Then we transport him back to Vienna. When he's 10 years old, we put him in front of the piano and we expect him to play. He's a genius. Would he play? Of course not. He's a genius. He has the exceptional talent. What it means? It means that he could learn it very fast, but he still had to learn that. Think about parenting. Everyone has a capacity to be a parent, but this doesn't mean that everyone wants to be a parent. It doesn't mean that everyone should be a parent. It's a life choice. This is job that goes beyond 9 to 5, Monday, Friday. This is 24/7 job. We all know that. And with leadership, it's the same. Everyone has a capacity to be a leader. Not everyone wants to be a leader. Not everyone should be a leader. It's a life choice that goes beyond 9 to 5. It's 24/7. It's 24/7 job. And this is something that I wanted to show, especially new leaders. Sometimes we are very good, like in software programming, and we are getting promoted, and we are expected to lead team of software developers. Yeah. And one thing to understand: as you are a leader, you are no more responsible for the job. You are responsible for the people who are responsible for the job. And one of my good friends, actually a great leader, is always saying, whenever he sees a director or manager spending 90% of their time coding, he says that these are the most expensive software developers that we have in our company. And this is the truth. That's not why we need directors and managers. We expect them to be leaders, not to do the job. This is a very nice example, and actually it actually happened in the US Navy SEALs training that I wanted to tell you about why leadership is important. So they were, imagine a couple of teams competing with each other on the beach. They are running into the water and swimming and doing stuff like that, carrying boats. You get the picture, yeah? Just the drills. And there was one team who was winning for the whole day. First, all the time. And there was another team that was losing for the whole day. Always the last. And these guys had someone I would call a bad leader. He was shouting into them, yeah, but not in a good way, like, you can do it. It's like, you suck guys, you will never make it, you are worthless, yeah? So he was actually beating them down. And what the guy who was actually running this training did is what? Leaders only. And you know where it's heading, because otherwise I wouldn't use this example, yeah? But what actually happened is immediately the team that was worst immediately was the first one for the rest of the day. Another thing that happened, the team that used to be the best didn't immediately collapse, but at the end of the day, they started to be last. Only leadership change made this one. Nothing else changed, the same folks, yeah? That's it. So leaders are multipliers. Leaders are multipliers of collective strength, of collective wisdom, of collective intelligence. That's what they do. And think about example. You have two developers. One of them is expert in Java, one of them is expert in Python. And they both get similar tasks. And both of these tasks are mixtures of Java and Python. So they don't have the skills to do it. And now imagine three situations. We give them a bad leader, we leave them with no leader, and we give them a good leader. So let's think what they could do if there is no leader. They know each other. They're not like a good friends, sit across different parts of the office, but they meet for the coffee sometimes, etc. So they collaborate to an extent. So this guy on the left, expert in Java, he will finish his Java code, very quickly, and then he will start learning Python, doing something. He will struggle, but he will have some progress, and he will reach out to this colleague, like, oh, could you help me with this small thing with Python? Yeah. So they will help each other a bit, and they will finish their task. And by the way, there is no such thing as bad leader. It's just bad. Yeah, it's just bad. So these guys give 100% of what they have, and they finish the task. Now imagine a situation if we give these guys a good leader. So this good leader, for example, could go to these guys up front and say, "Oh, hi, this is John, this is Michael. Do you know each other? What do you think if we could sit together? Yeah, maybe this would work." And I say, yeah, sure, why not? Maybe we can grab a beer after that and discuss stuff, yeah? Yeah, sure, why not? And then he's suggesting, "Oh, maybe I have an excellent idea. Tell me, guys, what do you think about this one? Maybe we could do like a pair programming, you know Java, Python. What do you think?" It's, yeah, let's give it a shot. And what happens? They're absolutely amazing. Yeah? They outperform their individual achievements. Yeah. So what this leader did, this leader multiplied their collective strength, intelligence, wisdom, whatever you call it. But what actually happens when you have a bad leader? Imagine a very bad leader. This leader comes, speaks with these guys and said, "You don't know both Python and Java. You guys sucks. I expect you to know both languages by tomorrow. This task needs to be done. And by the way, one of you gets fired tomorrow, the one who's worse. That's it. Come back to me next week," or something like that. Yeah? What these guys will do? Right now, they're in a very toxic environment, an environment where they have to compete for their job. They will not collaborate with each other. They're fighting with each other. So they will sit and finish their task. It will take them a long time because they don't collaborate and they don't have all the skills. This is how it will end up. So bad leader will actually do more damage to a team than no leader at all. This is something to remember. And by the way, good leader in a situation like this, because they screwed, should always own failures of the team and let team own their own successes. Yeah? Why owning failures is really important? First of all, your people have a trust in you that you have their back when you see them. And second of all, people that you report to trust in you that you stay on top of stuff. So let me give you some leadership tips. I will start with some personal note. So today we are in Bonarka. This is a very modern complex, there's a lot of glass and steel, very cool place. But this is how it looks 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was around 20 years old, and this is where I actually worked. I worked with my father. My father owned a small geology company, and nothing fancy, nothing extraordinary, like a couple of folks, working for him. And he very much wanted me to work with him. Obviously, working with my father at the time was the last thing that I wanted to do. So he paid me 5 times above the market, and I accepted. Yes. At the time, I thought that he just wanted me to follow his footsteps to become geologist. It occurred to be untrue. A couple of years later, I realized why he wanted me to work with him. He wanted me to see how he dealt with people, and this was awesome lesson for me. So first thing that he understood about people, he cared personally about each and every one of them. He knew their names. He knew names of their children, of their wives. He was spending weekends with them, collaborating about non-related, things that were not related to work, etc., etc. And they cared back about him because they saw this. He cared personally about each and every one of them. And just to give you an idea how much he cared about them, he had one top performer. And at some point, he went to this top performer and he said to him, "Robert, you are too good to work for me. Your talent is wasted. I arranged a transfer for you to France, to Paris, to a different company. I paid up from 1 month of your stay there, and here are the bus tickets for you. Do you want to take this opportunity?" And he did. Robert is very successful. Till this day, he works in France. He earns shitloads of money. Yeah, he's super successful because my father actually cared about him more than he cared about his own interests. And this caring built trust. But trust is not only built when you care about something. Another thing that my father did, he was transparent in absolutely everything that he did, that he was doing, in good things and in bad things. And obviously, he was not sometimes transparent up front. There were situations where he was completely empty, no money, and he could not pay guys. So he was paying them like after 2 days and saying, "Guys, yesterday I was like completely empty, but today I have money." So they really trusted him. Another thing that he did well, he always said that he's giving people opportunity to earn money. He was taking money off the table. He was paying above the market, not significant above the market, but above the market. And the people people always knew it. And by the way, money is not only money when you earn it. For many people, it's a measurement of the value. So imagine you have a leader that gives you X amount of money, and you have another leader who says, like, I will give you 3 times more the money. What some people can think, they can think like, okay, I'm 3 times more valuable for this other guy than for this guy. Yeah. So take the money off the table wherever you can. This is important. And again, measurement of this was when my father passed away many years later. He was actually running business till the last day of his life from the hospital, making some calls. Obviously, business dropped in the middle, so he had a lot of people that he did not pay to yet. So, and we are talking about thousands of dollars of things that he owned to the people that work with him. And we wanted to pay back this money, and each and every one of them collectively said that they will not take a single dollar from us because our father allowed them to earn that much. Yeah, it was not a charity. It was from their perspective only first. So take the money off the table. And the last thing that he did, he was bringing people together. You can imagine, this type of place. You have, average worker with a shovel, dirty hands, and you can have a professor and PhD, drawing something. Yeah. So he was bringing these guys together. He was forcing them to collaborate. He was building bridges, and thanks to that, he was able to, again, take the most of their collective intelligence. He only played a small role in this, obviously, but this is how Bonarka looks today. Yeah, so we really need leaders to make things happen faster. Now, let me give you a couple of basic tips: what do and what not to do when you are a leader. First of all, don't be empire builder, be an influencer. Who are empire builders? These are the people who are building their organization. They always need more people. They are measuring their success in amount of people that reports to them. Yeah, they will find excuses, reasons. They will cheat themselves why they need more people. This is the measure of their success. Influencers are the guys who are magnets. They are attracting other people. They are reaching to other parts of organizations because they want to get things done. Their objective is not to build large organization. Their objective is to get something done, and people actually want to work with them. Yeah? And these people actually gets much more done with less than these guys. And, at the end of my career, I would very much prefer to hear about myself, someone saying that, wow, 5 people followed this leader. Yeah? Than hearing, wow, 1,000 people reported to this manager. Yeah, this is not the measure of a success for me. Another thing, don't be a decision maker, be a debate maker. Yeah, if you are making all the shots, all the decisions for your team, you need to be Einstein with his high IQ. Still, probably it would be better if you leave something for the team. How does a debate maker works? Let me give you some quote that I really like about director. So, director does not set direction. Director makes sure the direction is being set. That's what needs to happen. So, be a debate maker. Get your folks together, even maybe not from organization. You can tell them up front, guys, we'll have 2 hours debate and then we'll democratically select the best option. You can do it differently. You can say to them, guys, I will make this decision by my own at the end, but I want to hear each and every one of you. Yeah? Be a debate maker. Don't be a decision maker. Now, the third thing, I have a quiz for you, like a rhetoric quiz, because I will answer it for you. One of your guys is in trouble. Do you jump in and help? Yes or no? And I will tell you what I'm thinking about. So imagine you see one of your folks in some email thread, and he got into the battle with some VP over something that you screwed, and you see that this goes in the wrong direction. Yeah, what do? You jump in and help? Of course, if you are a sensible person, caring person, you jump in and save the day. Correct? No, that's not what leaders should be doing. Remember this analogy about children? What do you do with children? You let children fail and learn on their own mistakes. Yeah? And this is the source of my knowledge in this regard. This is Batman, the movie. This is what Batman's father tells to him. Bruce, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. And this is absolutely true. Obviously, if you have a kid and there is there's a cat fire and your kid involved, you jump in and save the day. Yeah, no discussion there. That's the same with people that you work with. Yeah, if there's a total disaster happening, and in a majority of cases, let them fail, let them learn. I will give you again some personal experience on this one. The first true leader that I reported to was named John, and John was excellent leader, but obviously he was not perfect. None of us is perfect. And every time I screwed something, every time when something was going wrong, he was jumping in and fixing it. He was jumping in and helping me with it. And this felt really awesome. Someone had my back. This is really awesome feeling. But after a while, I started to become lazy. After a while, I stopped caring, because I knew that whatever I will screw, John will come back there and fix it for me. What happened a couple of years later? John left the company, and I was left with my responsibility, with no one to fix it for me, and actually with his responsibilities. And this was the hardest part of my professional life, but at the same time, this was the most beautiful part of my professional life. There was a lot of overtime, a lot of stress, a lot of failures, yeah, but at the same time, a lot of growing, a lot of learning, a lot of feeling of accomplishment, yeah. I grew amazingly back then. Now, let me very briefly talk about managers and their roles. So, Scrum understands something about leadership that most of the people don't. So, these are the 5 roles defined by Scrum and that are necessary to run a Scrum organization, yeah. Actually, I'm lying because there are only 3. There is no such thing as tech lead or manager in Scrum defined. There's no such thing. By the way, very confusing. Lead, this is the rank. It doesn't have anything with leadership. So let me tell you why tech leads are obsolete in the Scrum environment. But let's start with ants, the insects. Imagine that you have a newly created nest, home of ants, whatever we call it. And there are 3 ants making their first journey ever out of their home. One of them, the red one, goes somewhere and makes it back. Yeah. The same does the orange one, goes there and makes it back. The blue one went too far, didn't have enough energy to go back, died in the middle. Sorry, sad story. That's it. And this is how ants work. Ants leave scent behind them. And another ant smells it, and they go wherever they feel wherever they smell the strongest scent. So what will happen if 2 more ants will go? Well, one will go here, will make the trip back again, yeah, awesome. The other will go the orange path, and there is there's a predator, there's a spider. It ate the ants, sorry, sad story again. Yeah, it didn't make it back. And there is a 3rd iteration of ants. Where will they go? Of course, here. And that's how you get these awesome, movies where ants are walking like on the highways or something like that. This is how they work. And as strange as it sounds, this is very similar how leadership in the Scrum team works. So I've seen it on the couple of occasions. There's a guy, and he needs help with something. So he goes to his colleague from the team and said, "Hey, Michael, could you help me with that?" And Michael honestly doesn't care, or he's busy, and he says, "Nah, come later." Yeah. So this person goes to another guy. "Hey, John, could you help me?" "Yeah, sure. What's your problem? Yeah, I will help you. I care about you." Yeah. And guys are slowly starting to walk to this single person more and more and more often. And eventually, this person becomes a natural leader in the team. This is what Scrum tells us. It doesn't tell us that there is no leadership in the Scrum. It tells us that leadership should emerge naturally. Let's talk about the manager's role. Basic stuff that managers do. I'm oversimplifying stuff. Approve vacation. Okay. Now, what if I told you that there are companies out there that works in the DevOps and the Scrum, and they give their employees infinite amount of vacation time, infinite amount of PTO, 365 days a year if you want it. And you know what happens? They don't use it. Why? Because team understands when they can have a free time and when they cannot have a free time. You don't need someone to tell you, yeah, you can have a free time now. You can go to the toilet at this moment. Yeah, they naturally know this. If you don't believe me, imagine that you have a startup, you and your close friends, where you have infinite amount of PTO, because that's how business works, correct? But actually, when you look at the numbers, when you have your own company, your own startup, people are working much more and taking less vacation that they would do if they would work in some company. That's the reality. So do you really need a manager to approve your PTO? You don't know this? And another thing that's actually happening, there are software companies out there, large software houses, that are actually analyzing the interactions, the systems like Jira, between managers and employees. They analyze it and they move this data to the AI deep learning. And what started to happen past year is some of the basic things like vacation approval in some companies has been automated with AI decisions. This is the trend that's happening. It will be growing. And just to give you an idea, for the past 9 years, 50, 60, something like that, people reported to me over this time. And there was not a single day ever, never, where I would reject it, did not approve, or actually even discourage someone from taking the vacation. My response is always, you understand when you can take your vacation. This is your PTO, you manage it, not myself. So you don't even need AI to automate me. It's just a simple auto reply on my mailbox saying yes to any vacation. That's it. As simple as that. So just to sum up, leadership and rank. These are two different things. Ideally, you have both. This is the sweet spot. But if you are just a leader, this is awesome. Continue to do so. If you just have a rank and you don't think that you are a leader, there is an easy way for you. This is a skill. Just learn it. Leadership tips, just 3 things to remember. Don't be empire builder, be influencer. Don't be a decision maker, be debate maker, and let your people fail. Let your people fail and learn. And managers, role of managers may be changing significantly in next couple of decades. We will see. So just to finish this up, you can be a leader like Gandhi, billion people following you, sure. But you can also be a leader on a very, very small scale. It's as simple as helping and caring about your colleagues. And that's how you start becoming a leader. Thank you very much for your time. And are there any questions? Thank you very much for your questions. In that case. Okay. Thank you.